Okay. Okay. So, yeah. So, like, this is my first time trying to stream uh sewing content. So, but I do this all the time as a hobby. So, yeah. Sorry. And I thought it would be interesting to try to figure out uh one of these Japanese sewing patterns. So it's a book that I've gotten. I think it might be from Kinokuniya or whatever, but you can order them off of Amazon. I'm pretty sure, at least Amazon Japan. Yeah, they have a whole bunch of sewing patterns in them, and they come with a sheet of paper that has patterns, but it doesn't have every pattern that's in the book. So this was one that was not actually on that big pattern sheet. This is one that you have to try to draft yourself. So I was going to attempt it, and it looks pretty straightforward because it just gives all the measurement numbers everywhere, and I don't know. Yeah. So I have my paper and a pencil and a whole bunch of rulers, and I had to use my I'll be using my centimeter ruler instead of the typical inches because everything obviously in this book is in centimeters. Okay, so yeah, the thing that I'm trying to make is go to the page. This skirt is the pattern, and then that's the little picture at the back of it. And it also gives the pattern for the bow, which is why it says 18 is the skirt and then 17 is the bow from this. And this is a list of the materials. And in my, so I actually did study Japanese, so I do have a somewhat understanding of the language, at least a little bit. So I tried to translate, just the basic thing. So in this case, the fabric they use, I'm going to be using different fabrics. For the mock-up, I'll just use a straight cotton, and then because it's probably not going to fit me because it is one size. Well, it says, but that is not going to be my size. Uh, and yeah, so I'll have to make it and then see where I need to adjust. And I'm pretty sure there was like little, oops, notes that this pattern is without seam allowance, I believe. I think that's what they were somewhere. It was talking about. If I can find it. Yes. So in all of this, you can see how they've obviously traced out the pattern or whatever. And then obviously this is the little pattern book that this pattern is not part of, and they added the seam allowance to it. So I would assume then that this would be without seam allowance. Because I don't think it actually said anywhere on this page. Yeah. hopefully that this will be informative to somebody. Okay, so I'm going to start. Well, I should probably also say I am not doing it exactly like this. I am doing the overskirt part, and I have made a like a corset belt thing. So instead of it being like the skirt, it'll be a corset belt that opens in the front, and this will be like a skirt that hangs from the corset. So it'll just be an overskirt. So I'm not even going to bother with the skirt portion, just the overskirt, which should be these pieces and then these pieces over here. And I'll decide if I want to add the waist ties or not. But to be completely honest, I don't like the shape of their waist ties, how square they are. I will probably just, I might take some of the measurements, but I want the a little bit pointed, a little bit cuter. So yeah, I'm going to start with this part, which is the front part of the overskirt. And it looks pretty straightforward. There is a box that you build everything off of. So I'm going to take this guy first to make sure I have a perfect, let me see, we have 11.6, 28.5, and then, so we are building off of this side. I could probably do like this, so I don't, it's also not going to waste a lot of paper this way. Just to give myself a little bit of extra room. It would help if I could line it up with the grid, but like that, and we'll start this being my start side, start line over here. And this is just to make sure it's an actual perfect corner over here. So I'm not trying to like gauge it this way. Okay, so the first part of the box, and it does go a little bit past, so I should probably actually go up a little bit because of this piece. Just follow that line instead. Okay, so now the first one, line it up there. And then, so the first part, if you're looking at this, it says that from here to here is 11.6 on the biggest size. So I'll put a little mark right there at the 11.6. And see, it would be easier if I could just use this ruler. Well, okay, it does have, but it doesn't have the little ticks between that. That would be difficult. We know that this line I'm going to need. And then the next, so between here and here is 28.5. This is going to need to be longer. Okay, so 28.5. Well, I need to mark it on this side. Right here. Oh, I was at. Yeah, no. So try not to confuse myself. These numbers are backwards. 28.5 is this one. I want to make sure that is actually looks even. Okay. And then the next thing that I probably should figure out is, well, from here to here, 22.9, and that is on this straight line, but it will go past that. And I'm at the end of my line down here as well. Oops. And I just messed that up. Yeah, unfortunately, this roll is a little, my table, it'll roll off my table if I move that, so it's a little difficult to work with. I could probably do it this way instead. 22.9. So there's the little tick. And it's pretty much on that. Okay. So following this, I've done just these points, and these points. Now I'm going to do, so the measurement from this part of the thing to this point is 39 centimeters. So I'm going to measure up 39 and do a parallel across right there. So we line up 39 down here. So it'll be here, and I can probably just mark it on a few of these. That way I also know I have it even across. I can just use this one. Somehow this is getting too short. That one was a little bit off, but just double check the measurement. Yeah, see, it is a little bit off. So it is where it's supposed to be. Okay. And then, so the very interesting. I can just connect this little line right here. It's not that big of a deal. So on this point of the line, come down 2.5 to get this line, but I'm not quite sure why we need, unless it's just to get to help you find that dotted part, but okay. So this is to that line, but we need to add, interesting, you have to come down because then it adds, or I could just subtract 2.5 from, oh, math, 7.8. So we need to go 7.8. Let me double check my math. So it's 10.3 minus 2.5. Yeah, 7.8. Okay, so we need to go 7.8 more above. Do it here too. Make sure we're lined up here. I should do this line. Across here. Okay. I'm guessing I do potentially need this line as well. Just because of that's where that part of the curve, I'm guessing, starts. So that's what you're going for. So instead of this line, it needs to be, I can do it this way. So that's one. We go to this line. It's hard trying to go by those numbers on the side there. So just to keep things looking the same as this, I'm going to erase this line. Okay, so we have the basic boxes here figured out. And we have this point out here, which I drew a line up from, we didn't really need. Basically, so from what I can tell, you go from this corner, and it will go past this point. And that line needs to be 48. So let's see how that lines up. So putting the 48 at about there. And it does go past. So this would be that diagonal. And this pencil is very sharp, so it tears through this paper. I didn't need to go up that far. Oh, I need to Make sure I put the little, okay. Okay. And then we connect that point to this point. And that is that little piece that hangs down right there. So technically we don't need this line. I want to leave it a little bit. No, I don't think we need it at all. We can see the line through the paper if we need it. Okay. Okay, we figured out that corner. Now for this curve. I have this, but I think this curve is not like it's like an actual more uniform curve. So it might be easier to hand or to only use like flipping it over. So it has 1.3. I'm not quite sure. I guess that's from that line, which I'm not quite sure why you would need to draw that diagonal, but we can put it in there. So they are taking this point and diagonal to this point. Get my straight one first. And I'm guessing that's just to help with the curve. And then now you know the curve has to come all the way up to here. And it comes, so I'm going to draw this. So it'll be 2.5 down from that, which is about just sort of put it in there because it doesn't go all the way over. I'm not quite sure why. Does it say? It does not say how long this line is. And that's just telling you to gather it. So we know the curve will touch the line there and it curves back up to that. So let me grab the right one. We know it's got a curve and come to that. Obviously this part of the curve isn't correct. So I could potentially make that. Yeah, but I think this is probably about. And then now we need to do a curve that connects that point to that curve we just did. Yes. I feel like that is too steep. Usually this is easier to just sort of eyeball it. Does it say? It says where that point is. And okay, so I'm not going to be doing it exactly like this, but this 5 here is to mark that is the exact center front because these pieces overlap on the actual skirt, but because I'm putting it on a corset that closes in the front, they will not overlap. So I don't need to worry about marking that point. But other than that, it just tells me that that line is 2.5. It does not tell me the distance from here to here. So I'm just going to that's a little too maybe a little bit more. It needs to come down to this line. So if we do like that, that is very rough, but that is sort of what it does. And then that one curves up like that. Okay, now we've got to do that curve, which is basically, it goes to this line. So this line just curves up to that. And I think that's a pretty decent looking. Maybe, yeah, it would definitely be more than that. So let's see if that looks like too much. Yeah, it seems to touch a little bit up there. So it's probably more like that. And erase this. Just so I don't get confused by it. Okay. Now we have, this one actually gives me the measurement of this line. So it comes in 12.7. So I would assume from this, and we're going to want, I would assume an actual 45-degree from that point. That is just a guess, but 12.7. So it comes to there. So that curve and it does not say where it touches here. But judging by this, you'd want yeah, see, this doesn't quite do what we need it to, but yeah, it's going to be more curvy than that. That was just because it's also in centimeters, but this is my other one, and this one might be yeah, see, this has a different curve, I feel like. And this looks more, because now it looks like that's more of a curve there, even though it looks like it's kind of straight at that point. You can see how that could be a curve. And then it goes all the way till it touches this. So that, it slipped a little bit, but this is really just a rough. Is when you actually go to cut this pattern out or whatever, you would round all of those a little bit anyway. That seems like a little sharp right there. And that's where it slipped a little bit, so we'll just get rid of that line. And yeah, that doesn't look quite curved enough. Okay. If my water bottle is making noise. Yeah, that'll be rounded out a little bit anyway. Yeah. So that is basically, and then obviously this marks a, it's so hard to see on that picture. That dotted line is literally just to mark where that trim is attached. So I'm not going to worry about that. But it does look like it goes like not the same size for whatever reason throughout, because here it's only 8.3. There it is 8.8, and then it's, well, it's probably from there to there is, no, it would be from there to there because that's the 11.6, 9.5. I'm not quite sure why it doesn't stay even around, but you know. Okay. That piece is done, roughly. Okay, and so I kind of know where I'm following when I go to trace it. I'm going to highlight the line to follow. Obviously, it's not necessary, but it helps me so I know where I'm following. And yeah, that I'm definitely going to want to sort of round out when I go to trace this. Or do I bother? Let me see if I can. See, this just doesn't give a very good curve for that. And I have so many rulers. I have a smaller one, but I think it's the exact same curve. I don't think it's gonna. But that might give a slightly better curve. Follow it a little bit more like that. Yeah, it's not perfect, but I will also, like I said, be making a mock-up, not just cutting into any like really nice fabric right away. I'll just be using plain black cotton to make a test run to make sure the pattern looks right. And find where I put my scissors. Oh, just cut this piece off. Put this to the side. Hopefully it'll stay sitting there. Okay. I'm trying to get it as even as I can. Okay. I am going to do these things next because I have looked at this. I've actually tried to figure out there's a lot of points that don't have measurements. So luckily for me, so this is a skirt design by one of my favorite designers, H. Naoto. And I actually have the dress version that has that exact same skirt bottom. So if I need to, I can measure this. So, but this is what that pattern is going to look like. And there's the waist ties. And then the really pretty back, where it has the 3 layers of different fabrics. And then, so obviously there's over a skirt. This is just a chiffon attached to this. So if I need to make any actual measurements of this dress, I have that option. Because nowhere on here, and maybe I'm missing it, can I find the measurement of this. Like, I don't know where this line is supposed to be placed, because it gives the measurements, the 2.5 there, the 12 there, the 17 there. It does not give the measurement for that, but because it gives you the measurement of this, you know that this is 17 point something. I would have to math again, but 17.8, I believe. So you can figure that one out because of this measurement, but nowhere does it tell you that one. So I'm going to go with the easier one. We're going to work on this. And again, it's going to be a perfect curve. I might actually fold the paper there to get that measurement, to get it even on both sides. Okay, so first we need to go over, well, first I need to mark this. So I know that I have a perfect see, that is not, I think because I went around this corner, it actually touched the thing better. Okay. Let's start with, okay, well, we know we need to go up 33.2. Yeah, because that's taking that 1.5 off the bottom. 33.2 for the whole top to bottom. So many rulers now over here. So let me just straighten this up just to make sure, because where that corner was. Okay. Because that's where it went, around that corner. Okay. 33.2, correct? Correct. That should be about there. And then it's just a tad higher than that line. 1/10 of a centimeter. Okay. I can measure in 14.6 to get that point. Measure down here too, and that way I can just roughly see that didn't line up. Let me make sure I didn't mess up the measurement. I totally did. I don't know how I did that. That is not where the measurement is. 14.6 is here. Which lines up. This line will probably end up getting erased. I don't really need it, but that's literally just to find that point. And then we go over 23.2. That is there. We go down here. Okay. That is actually the line I need. Okay. And so then we know this to the point it touches on this line, 17.8. So $17.8. It needs to go up just a little bit. Right there. Oh, no. Down a little bit because I had it not quite even there. Okay. So that is that one. And then from that point to that one. Not quite well, just so I can measure that distance, how far down it goes down. And it doesn't give me a measurement it's supposed to be, so. It is 22 and a fourth. Somewhere in here is middle. That's just so is that really almost a, I'll get parallel to that line. Well, not parallel, but perpendicular to that line. I need to make a line that is 7.5 centimeters long. So right there. So that is the point of the curve. And I really do think this will be the easiest way to do this. Except for the wind, I have my fan on. Okay, this way. try to keep this roughly the same that I put it there. Wow, that shifted. Not bad. Just oh. This follows that bottom one, not the top one. So it kind of follows this. So okay. And then I will just sort of trace this on to that point. Okay, and then that way I know those are even. Now I need to draw a line from that point to the 10 point to down. Let's find that one first. There. So from that point to that point, and that little piece in the middle, the center, is 3.1. So again, $12 and that is about half. Now, and I need to go down from that 3.1. 3, 1, make sure that's lined up. That's the point we're curving from. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. Line that point up with that. And this needs to be a much less sharp. And it was like roughly this. That is spot on. Okay. This would then just sort of Okay. That is that one. And then come up basically 1.5 all the way around it. So this is just a rough, don't know how perfect this is, but okay. Need a place where I can see the little lines a little better. That's a lot of space in between, so let's okay, and then it's basically just like connect the dots. Okay, and that is the basic shape for this piece. And this also will help me so I don't forget. This is actually to be cut on the fold. So this is a little symbol I see used a lot for that, where if you see this, you would obviously know to complete the circle. So it's cut on the fold. So we follow this line. Again, just highlighting the parts that I know is the one that we will be tracing. Just to make them stand out among all the other lines. And that line. Okay. So we have those done. Now we need to tackle these. I'm going to go ahead and erase this one because I can cut closer to this and not waste a lot of paper. technically already cut up to there. I could technically cut across that, and this I might be able to use that for something else. Okay. That is that piece done. There will be like a little bit of extra up there, but again, I'm trying to get the paper as straight as possible to the grid underneath. Oh, dropping things. Just get all of this up on it. Okay. So now we are going to move on. I'm going to do the bigger one, I think. Because it's going to take a lot more paper. Let me just double check if I have enough. So we want to measure over just roughly that to 50 something. Yes, that's plenty. Okay, so first we need 28.5, and that's over there. I love how it's lined up to that side. It makes it difficult to... Okay, but I can go ahead and do the same line on this side as well. So let's go up 8. Let me just draw a line. Let's put it, so we don't need it. Do like 1 centimeter down from that line. Make sure this is long enough. And we know that this is going to have to be really long, so let's go ahead and take it down even further. Okay, and then I will use, I could also use 1 inch from, and it will not need to go up that high, I don't think, but okay, 28.5 is this line. So we know, that's that one, and then we go up another 28.7. Yeah, this is almost off this. It's 8. 28.7. is that. Yeah, this is going to be a big piece, so I probably didn't need to cut off that because still just okay. It'll just sit right there, and then I need to maybe draw that line all the way across the top. So let me just go to the other side and draw from there. It'll just make this easier. And it is okay. Quite sure how far down I need it, but reading this upside down. I need to come from this side. 18.3. 18.3 is here. Well, is here. And then from the 18.3, 50.4. And that'll be there. Okay, I'm going to do the same measurements here because then I can just draw them straight. Well, I really don't need to. Except for this far one. So, but I can just sort of, we are that much in. Let's just make sure that lines up all the way down. I should be able to. Yeah, it's not perfect. That up. Okay. This is pulling my shirt a little bit. Okay. And then we need to measure this line like we did. The 28.5 up. Which is right here. And really that is just to, I'll have to get my yardstick because this is just barely too short. It might be easier to see from the other side. Okay. that is that line. And then we need this. So it gives us the measurement that it needs to be 22 long. Come from, I don't need this giant thing anymore. Again, I'm going to go to the other side, but it needs to be 22 long and touch that line from that point. So 22, if I put that there on that point, where it touches the line is there. No, that is not. There. Okay. Don't need that. Where it slipped a little bit earlier. Okay. And then it's a lot of just eyeballing it to make it a circle that goes down. Okay. It definitely stays a little bit flat through there. I don't think I have. Something that stays kind of flat. So maybe you can do a little bit of a curve like that. We're just trying to get it to go there. And again, it looks like it kind of straightens out a little bit to get to that point too. That is a very rough. That curve, the very bottom one. Yeah, this is, how do you know how much to cut off of that? Okay. like I know you come up 1.5 to start this, and then it is basically this length, but I don't know where this point starts. It doesn't give that measurement. Oh no, wait, it's this, right? 13.5? That looks like that's what that is. Okay, it does give that measurement. So 13.5. We have another parallel line to that one. So 13.5. And I gotta find this one first, but I can go ahead and do the okay. Now we need to find this. Okay, I'm guessing 12.5. Or that star would be for that. Where's this star? Or are they the same measurement? Because I don't see that star anywhere else. Like, because on this one there's a star down here. So I'm guessing it has to be the same measurement then. Because I'm not missing it anywhere else. It wouldn't be for that. Okay, so it has to be 12.5. Okay. Oh, no, it's not. I'm totally just blind. 8.7. Okay, so again, whatever the middle of that line is, 8.7 down. Just going to roughly do the middle. Why is that weirdly at 13? Anyways. Two inches more. To do 2.5 yards, 2.5 feet. Somewhere around here, roughly. 8.7. Okay. Okay. Now this is not a even curve as well. So it's just going to be some. Okay, make this. Okay, very rough, but it gets the job done. Oh yeah, that did not. See, that needs to go a lot steeper. That's better. Okay. Wow. It's a weird angle to try to do that, but that is roughly. Okay. Don't need that line above. Okay. Now I need to measure the start of this, the 1.5 up. And then I know from here to here needs to be 22.5. So let's mark that. 22.5. So this needs to end there. That is, again, the little curved. I feel like this should be merging in with that. Yeah, so this stays curved for a while. So this actually comes out. Okay, so this is the bottom. And this one curves like that. And then it looks like this one starts to curve out of it like here, maybe? Something like that. Okay, so let me erase this line so not to get that confused. This stops there. And it does not show. Okay. So basically, the reason you did the other line for this one is you have this piece, the top and bottom, and the one is shorter than the other one. So for this one, I guess, are there two? This one? Yes. So there's also above and below. And then this one, I do not see. Okay, so that's why you don't see the 1.5 centimeter on this piece. So this piece is this one. And it looks like you only cut one of it, because these are the pieces that you would cut. And so there's these two that match, these two that match, these two that match, but this one is by itself. Okay, just making sure. So I don't need to do this 1.5 on this bottom one. That makes it easier. It'd be nice if I had a better line to follow. Okay. So now we do the little 1.5, which is right. It's the 1.5 point. And for this, it's pretty much flat for this first part. And then we start to get a little bit of a curve. Okay, and this is just marking the 1.5 centimeter line that runs beside this. Okay, and then it's just connect the dots. Okay. Okay. So then we have everything completed, I believe. Okay, so we have the big one and then the two of those. And that is it. So now I'm going to, well, for one, this is cut on the fold. So draw this little symbol, because all of these are going to be cut on the fold. They all have that little. Okay, and now I'm going to use the highlighter to mark the lines that get traced. Okay, this one, this one. Okay, and so that is 3 more pieces, and I dropped things. Okay, so I am going to cut this now. Okay. Oh, well, sure. Let it roll up. Might make it easier for storing. Okay, so now that piece is out of the way. So we have done these, this. Now we got to try to do smaller of the curved ones. And I'm just trying to get this lined up to down there. Get it as parallel as I can. Okay. Wow, that needs to be. So now for this one, it's the exact same as how we did this one. First, I need to measure. Well, I need to make a straight line down the side. And I can potentially use this exact same line here as the bottom. So let me do this. Don't know how long I need it yet. So do one of these. Okay. Okay. So 20.9. Move those out of the way. All of my stuff that's in the way. 20.9. There. And then 31.6. It's that number, then that number. Okay. That is right there. Okay. That's really all the space that we need there. This potentially there because it shouldn't be in my way. I should be working from that. Okay, so we have 28.5. Well, okay. Let me mark this all the way up. Should be on the dotted. Okay. So now the 28.5 up. Hopefully this isn't going to go over. And 20.4. Yeah, I won't. Okay, 20 point. And now I need this one to go up higher because it's going to be easier to do this from the other side of the table. Okay. Okay. So now from this point, oh, I have not marked the point, this point at the top. Okay. So I need to mark over. Double check. 20.9. Helps if I can see it better. Almost 21. There. Okay, So from this point to this point, I do not need this line that far out. We draw a straight line. That should be touching that. Okay. And then from okay, so this is 23.5. It's easier to do from the other side. So the line, total line has to be 23.5. And it has to start at this point. So 23, you go until the 23.5 touches this line. And that is that one. Okay. And now we do that one to this point, which is bigger than my ruler. So I get to pull out the big yardstick again. Nope, it's not long enough. Okay. Now we need to find this curve. So the very bottom of this curve goes to 12.5. So first, just sort of guessing. I wish I knew what the middle of this stick was, because I feel like it's such a random, because it puts it in like the middle of one of these. $27.5. Like that is the middle. So I'm just going to eyeball it. About there. Here's a way I can test it. This helps if I line it up with the actual. Yeah, so that doesn't. That's interesting. It's not quite to 30. Oh, but that is correct. Look at that. Maybe just slightly off, but that's roughly. It is roughly. And what I say, 12.5 down from that. That's a long. Okay. And this might be more. Thoughts. Parallel, but like even on both sides, but Yeah, see, this is... Yeah, I don't feel like this. It's harder for me to do at this angle, but it's kind of like that. Okay. And then we go 1.5 up. That is where the second one starts. And from here to here is 8.9. So, oh, I have not done the top. It would help to do the top curve first. Okay, so now to find the top curve. So 5.8 up from and 5.8. This is not long enough again. That point. Okay. That's actually not that far off just doing this. How did I have that? Just curious. Oh. Well, doesn't quite look the same, but because I feel like this line. It is close. Okay. Now, on this line, we need to go down 8.9. That's interesting. It's about there. Oops. I want it to stay parallel to this one. So needs to be up just a little bit, I think. Oh, and it needs to be a very specific length. Right? Yes. Oh, this number, 22. It needs to be 22 long. From that point to this is what we need the curve. That's going to be interesting. Okay. So yeah, this needs to stay kind of at one point, and then it slowly starts to get bigger. I feel like it needs to be getting more than that. Okay. Something like that. Okay. And that is everything, I believe. Okay. So now we have figured out this whole pattern, and this is also cut on the fold. To draw the little half circles. And I'm going to highlight the part that we will then need to trace. First, this one. And this one. This line. And then this curve. Okay, and that is those two pieces done. Okay, and let me cut. This piece up. And put this out of the way. I can actually pull out the pieces that we've done, actually. So and I'm going to have to wait them because I have a fan on because this room gets really hot. Okay. We've done that one. we've done this one. The little one. Sorry about the probably annoying paper sounds. And then this one. Ooh. So this one, and then those. So the only one that is left to attempt to tackle is this. So yeah, that's going to be fun. And then that is all the pieces I will need because, as I said at the beginning, I am not making the underskirt portion of this or the belt because I actually have a corset belt that I intend and speak to attach this overskirt to instead of over top of a skirt. So, okay. And then we get to come on. Trace them out again and add seam allowances because these patterns do not allow or do not have seam allowance in them. If I can get these to roll together, that'd be nice. Okay. Oh, my water bottle is trying to. And we will probably need a. Actually, this paper is only. Where is. Yeah, so I am going to have to piece a piece, obviously, because it's obviously going to be bigger than this. So I could attempt to do this. I think this way is still longer. And then just piece the top part of this instead of trying to see. Actually, this goes all the way out like that, but you don't actually use it. So I'm going to attempt to trace it like this, where this line is along this. I think that'll make the most sense to me. So then I won't have to piece out too much that direction. Okay, so let's start off by making our line. Get my scissors out of the way. And I might actually make it closer to the edge to try to give ourselves as much room as we can. Okay. So let me actually make sure this paper is lined up as best we can. Okay. And since I'm going by the grid underneath it instead of the actual edge of the paper, then let me do like this. Line it up there. Just barely touching. Okay. Well, I can move it down then. I know we are going to be using a lot. Oh. And then line up a line here. That technically goes off, so let's go to the next one. Oh. A little bit of wrinkle in the corner, but okay. So now we know that this part doesn't even start until 22. So let's go ahead and mark 22 up. Ooh, sorry about that. And that is this line. That line we don't know the length of, but we can go ahead and okay, it is right on that. We know this is going to go pretty far out there somewhere. Okay. Ooh, I didn't. Yeah, okay, that's fine. So that'll be out there. And now, this is where it comes into math. We know from this point to this point. I mean, I guess I can mark the whole thing. I can just do that. 49.5. I was going to mark each one going up, but they only give you the measurements for the first two. They don't give you the measurements for the last one. So it's literally what's left over. So, but I can go ahead and mark the 49 and a half, which is right there. Oh, look at that. Let me make sure. That's funny. That's actually right at the end of that. Okay. That's the top part of that. And we know that needs to go out 28.5. So 28.5. Okay. Okay, the first one is 12 long. I don't need it to go out that far, but it is. I only need it to go out right to there because then that curves. And then the next one is 17.2. Which is here. Okay. And the last one is there. And oh, I did this wrong. I'm gonna have to erase these. I forgot I need to come down 2.5 and then measure the 12 and the this is why it's done in pencil. Okay, now go down 2.5 first. Okay, now 12. Well, it's pretty much on that line anyway. Okay, and then 17.2. Oh, it slipped. Okay. And then that is the last one, which should be like 17 point something. Yeah. 17.8? Yeah. 17.8. Okay. So now, this is the part that you know from this point out diagonal to the end of this point. You know that's, well, you know how far this goes out. And you know how long to get to this point. And you know how to curve to make these points because they curve up, and so then this, I'm assuming this is the same length as this. It's just curved. They give you the overall. but they never give you to this line. Just like when you make this diagonal from this to this, which I can go ahead and do, it's 1 centimeter down from that curve goes in. So from this point to this point, and then that is so halfway is just somewhere in there, just roughly. And we know from that point down roughly is where the curve goes. So that's the curve into the skirt. Which this little guy, it's a very, very subtle curve. So we won't even have to. Let me grab the longer one because I might not even need to. That's roughly that. So I'm gonna kind of erase that though, just because I don't want to get confused on where the actual skirt is. So that is the curve of the skirt. Okay. And then we know we have that line is going to be the same length as this. We've got a slight curve. I wish it said what degree angle that is, because it does not parallel that line. Yeah, this is where it gets confusing because and I don't know if this exactly matches the dress I have, but I tried to measure this whole back panel that has the ruffles on it. Pull this back down. So from here to here, it does kind of bell out, but it looked like the top here is 36. So I don't, half of it, when I measured to get half of it, I got 17.5 at the top. And I assume this line is parallel, but see here at the top, that point should be that. That's why I wrote in 17.5, because I see nowhere else where it tells me that measurement or where to find that measurement, which is sort of weird because I do not know where to put that point. But it tells you this one to get to the end of that point. So I'm just going to go by that measurement that I took myself. You should be able to do this without actually owning the item that it's made. But I have no idea where you would find that number. So maybe I'm just missing something, and maybe somebody else will know the answer to that. But I'm going to go by the dress I have, that this is supposed to be made like, to get that measurement, because, yep, that's the only option that I see. So I wrote down 17.5. So from 17.5, is there. I need to make it go down all the way. Okay. So from there, we know that this point all the way out here is the star measurement. It's 18.8. There. And so then from this point to this point, though we will actually where is that? I don't see that mark anywhere else. Like I said, I'm pretty sure it's just from here to here. So it's that 49.5 minus the 2.5. So it would be 47 is where we mark to do that curve. Or each one, just so like each one of these is the same measurement here and here. So mark from that point on this line to 12. From that point, it's 17.2. And then the last one was 17.5, I believe. But just to make sure, I'm going to just do the 47. So this whole line should just be 47 centimeters. Okay, basically, all we're doing is curving that line to that. Ooh. So And oops, I don't want it to actually. Okay, so then we don't need this. This is not part of it. Okay. And then we can measure out. This line needs to be extended all the way down to the bottom. Because that is the start of this piece. So then from here to the end is 60.9. This is where I'm going to need. I had some extra at the end of this. Oh, it's gonna fall. Okay, papers, just take end of this. And hopefully that's going to be enough. Come on. Come on, paper. Making a lot of noise. Okay. And I just need it to go out 60.9. Go to the other side. You know, if this room did not get so hot, I would turn off the fan, but okay. So this is not long enough, but I can, well, first I need to mark this line all the way down. Just to make sure this doesn't go anywhere. Just gonna weight that down a little bit. Okay. I know that this just so I know I've got it. Okay. It's hard to see. This here is 55. So I need to add 5.5, right? Get 60, or is it 60.9? Where's the number? Okay, no, 5.9 for this. Okay, so this is the point we're going to. Okay, so go back to the other side because that's where my tape is. I'm going to tape this. Okay. Pattern piece just fell. Now This shouldn't be going anywhere. Now I need my ruler, my yardstick ruler, all the way from this point to this point. I'm going to tape it nice and well. I don't want to tape over where I'm going to be drawing the line, but I can tape close. Okay. Okay. Back. Pick up my paper that fell. Okay. So now I need to mark on that line from that corner down to 48. So there. And I taped that on because I needed the whole thing, but really it doesn't even go onto that. So it'll curve from that point to this point. The only reason you need that thing is to get that line. Fun. Okay, so now I'm going to need the long one again. I need from that point to this point. Okay. This paper is very thin, so it sometimes catches because this is very, very fine pencil points. Okay. And now from that line, 3.2 down. This is 5. So 3 point. Wee. Okay, 3.2. 3.2. Somewhere in the middle. I'm just going to kind of do like this. From that curved up to those, basically. My long curvy one. And get the most gentle curve. Okay. So now, am I missing anything? There's this, the dotted line that does not actually run parallel because it's 8.8 here and it's 8.3 here. So it gets a little bit higher up. But I have this piece, and this piece. And then this. I did this wrong. That's fine. I will just redo it. But it should have been to this point, not the very far one. Okay. Again, this is why it's in pencil. All of that can be done again. Okay, to this point, I might not need the really long one. I don't. Okay. At that point to this point, yeah, didn't mark it there. Okay. And then the 3.2. This is 3. Roughly there. That's okay. Now, okay, this piece. And then that should be it. So we've done this piece, this one, this one, this one, this one. I'm not going to do the waist ties because I have I don't like the square, so I'm going to do my own. And I don't need that because the waistband, because the corset, and I'm not doing the underskirt part. It's just the overskirt. So yeah, and then the other thing would be is if you were cutting out the decoration. So again, I'm pulling out the one I have. This is to know the length to cut these. So this ruffle and then this. It's easier to buy trim than to, hopefully I can like actually find some trim to, so I won't have to do that. So yeah, that's it, because I'm not doing the skirt part, I'm just doing this underskirt. So, okay. Oh, hang my dress back up. Okay, so I guess that is it. We got through all of it. So then I will, I guess next time we will take these pieces and actually trace them out on their own individual pattern to add the seam allowance to all of them. But I don't think I have time. Yeah. So yeah, that'll be next time. Trace out the pieces that we need, add the seam allowance, and then we can cut them out of just a solid black fabric. And then we can begin trying to figure out how to construct this thing. So that is it. Thank you for anyone that was watching.